defined the another definition of object, and we said object is an instance of class. And we said class is a blueprint of object, which defines like what are the properties and behavior of a particular object. For example, if it is a bank account, right? And then bank account is an object. And a bank account will have various properties such as account number, what is the account type, owner's name, when it was open, what is the current balance, right? So such properties can be given as an, a blueprint, a format or template for all other objects belonging to the same class. And we say that instance of a class is an object and all the objects shares the same property. So don't give the two words share property. Who shares the property? So objects which are belonging to the same class, they are sharing the same property. So all these were the discussion last time we have gone through. Today we are going to go ahead with the next discussion, and along with this we have also seen like how can we create a class. And we said that class can be created with the help of keyword class. You can look at the last paragraph, public class student. And we said object can be created from the class using class name space object name equal to new, and then again class name, right? So student S1 is equal to new student. This is how we can create a class object. And with the help of class object, you can access the property. For example, student class is having the property marks. So we can access it with the help of object S1. So I'm talking about last line where we have accessed the property. We have printed that property using S1.marks. Fine. So S1 is an object and mark is the property. And we said that a single class can have multiple objects. And I've shown you the example of class quiz where we have two objects created for the class quiz. So quiz object 1 and quiz object 2 was created from the class. So we have written quiz object 1 is equal to new quiz, and quiz object 2 is equal to quiz, right? And we said that multiple you can create a class and access it into the another class also. So that is called using multiple class in a single program. And we see in a program where we have created main.java and second.java. And as the second.java was containing the main method, inside main method, we have created an object of main.java, where main.java and second.java are two different files stored in the same folder. So this was the discussion last time. And today we are going to discuss about Java constructors. Okay, so when I say constructors, actually constructors are a very special method in Java. The concept of constructors are available in all other programming languages also, such as C++, .NET and Java. These three are focusing on the constructors. So let us see like how it goes and what it is. So as I said, your constructor is a special method in Java. And when we are creating an object, we know that how we create the object. Everybody knows how to create an object now. Can you tell me how to create an object? How do you create object of a class? Everyone, how do we create an object? We are talking about constructors, right? And I said, if I have a class and if I create an object, right? Let us say I have my class .java and I'm creating an object, then I have to write object name equal to new and I'll write my class. This is what we have seen, that this is how we can create object named as obj, right, which is belonging to class my class, right? Yes or no? This is my class object, right? So we are saying that constructor is a special method. We're saying constructor is a method, but it's not a normal or ordinary method, but it's a special method because whenever you create an object, the constructor will be called automatically. Fine. So constructor is a very special function, and its task is to allocate the memory to all the data field belonging to that class. And another special property of constructor is that it's a special method because constructor is having the same name as your class name. It is having same name as your class name, right? Can you see the example? I have public class main, right? And I'm writing integer x and public main. This is the same method, same name as the class name. Main is my class name and main is my method over here, right? And what I'm doing in the method main, I have written x is equal to 5, right? I'm assigning the value. And now you can see here, I have written public static void main, and in that I have created an object. So here again you can see, I have created an object main using my main, my object equal to new main, right? So now when I'll access my object dot x, as I said, it's a special method and it will be invoked whenever we are creating an object. So what is happening over here? When I am creating this method, you can see here, this is like I have a class, right? So this is my class, and in that I have this variable. And now when I have created a constructor is a special method having same name as its class name, and it will be invoked whenever we are creating an object. So here it will be invoked. Here the constructor call will happen, right? Your method will be called. And as you see in this method, we are assigning value to the class data field. Class is main and its data is x. Data field is x. So I'm assigning x is equal to 5. So at the time of creating the object of my class, this constructor will automatically call and execute. And that's why now after this line, x value is 5. X has been assigned the value 5. So whenever I'm printing system.out.println and my object.x, it is going to give me 5 as an output. Is it clear? Is it clear, guys? It is going to give me 5 as an output. Anyone having any question, any doubt up till now? Anybody? If you have any question, any doubt, you can ask me the query. Now, major question comes like why we have this? Because whenever we declare any method or anything, any variable, we know that the memory will be allocated. Right? For example, if you have, let us say, integer a. Right? Declaration of integer a, simple variable, it means that we are allocating a memory to it, right? Whenever we declare an array and we say equal to new integer 10, which is our size, right? It means that 10 into 2, 20 bytes will be allocated in the memory. So usually whenever you declare any variable, whether it's a primitive or non-primitive, primitive means integer, character, double float, string, and non-primitive means your enumeration, array, your class object. Whenever you are doing any declaration or creation of an variable, the memory will be assigned. So same thing we are saying over here. We are saying that constructor is a special method and it will be called when the instance of an object is created and memory is allocated for that object. So whenever we are writing main object is equal to new main, at that time constructor will be invoked. And it is called constructor because it constructs the value at the time of object creation. It assigns the value, it allocates the memory, so it constructs something in the memory. That's why we call it as a constructor. And it is not always necessary to write the constructor for a class, because whenever you are having any Java class and you are trying to create an object, your Java compiler automatically creates a default constructor, even if you have not written it in your code. Even if you see here, what we have is here, suppose I don't have this line. If I don't have this line, and still if I am trying to create an object, at that time default constructor, this we are already writing. We have already written in one example like this. So this is like your program, your compiler will automatically create a default constructor. Now, default constructor is also known as no argument constructor, because it is not having any parameter given in the parenthesis. So we call it as a default constructor. Major task is it allocates the memory. So here, instead of X, if I would have taken 2 values, I would have assigned 2 values in the code part also. And even if I'm not writing this, even if I don't have this, still the memory for X and Y will be allocated, and the default constructor will be invoked automatically by your compiler whenever we are creating an object. Is it clear? Is it clear? Any doubt, any questions up till now? Anyone? I'm waiting for your reply. Okay. Now, when constructor is called, at what time? Your compiler calls the constructor. So as I said, each time when you create an object, your constructor will be invoked. And when we are creating the object, every time whenever we use new keyword, right, at that time, at least one constructor, and by default, it will be the default constructor, or the second name of default constructor is no argument constructor, which will be invoked automatically, and it will assign the initial values. So if I'm having here integer X and Y, and suppose I don't have this, and then if I am writing this new keyword, constructor will be called, default constructor will be called automatically. So when default constructor is being called, it will assign the initial value, and we know that the initial value of integer is 0. Initial value of integer is 0. Fine. Now suppose this is not the case, and you have constructor defined over here, right? So constructor is a special function having the same name as class name. So we have created here that method's body, constructor body we are defining. In that case, whatever is the assignment value given by the programmer, it will be assigned. It will be assigned. Are you getting the point? I'm saying that it will assign the initial value. If it is defined by the developer, then it will give it here, X and Y, right? It will give X is equal to 5 and Y is equal to 10. But suppose we don't have this code, developer has not written this code. In that case, the initial value of the integer X will be 0 and Y will also be 0. Fine? Is it clear? Right? And even if you are not defining it, automatically your compiler will call it. Okay? Now, let us understand certain characteristics of your constructor, right? Rule number 1, as I said, constructor name must be same as your class name. We cannot give a different name. If you are giving a different name, it will become method, not the constructor, right? Major characteristic and work of the constructor is it assigns or it allocates the memory to the class data members. Now, an interface cannot have a constructor. This is a rule. Constructors are only applicable to the class. Constructor cannot be private. there are three access modifiers with your Java, which is public, private, and protected. Major three access specifier which are available in Java, which is public, private, and protected. And we are saying that constructors cannot be private, because whenever you have a class member given a label private, suppose here I have created a constructor, right, and I have given certain values. Now when I say something is private, and it means that it is accessible only by that method, that class, nowhere else. But as you see here, main is trying to access the data property, even if with the object name, right? So if we have made this private, if we have made this private, at that time, this call is not possible. Because we know that when object is getting created, constructor is being invoked. Default constructor call happens by the compiler. So if you are making it private, it will give you compile time error over here, right? And that's why there should be public label, or otherwise no label at the constructor. By default, the constructors are having the public visibility. Along with that, the other rule says a constructor cannot be abstract, static, final, native, strict FP, or synchronized. From this, final and static words we are going to see in this chapter, and other things we are going to see in the next chapters. So what I suggest is, right now you just remember that a constructor cannot be abstract, static, final, native, strict FP, or synchronized. Fine. Another thing, your constructor can be overloaded. What is method overloading? We are saying right now that constructor overloading is possible. What is overloading? Method overloading we discussed in the previous chapter. What is method overloading?
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, Om, tell me.
More than one method in one class with different parameters.
Same name but different parameter, right? Method name will be same but parameters are different. So similar way we are saying that constructor can be overloaded. It means that here you see I have written main one with no parameter. I can also write main one integer a. In that case, I'll say this dot x is equal to a, right? Another thing what I can do is I can have the third constructor also, which could probably take 2 argument, right? And in that case, I'll be assigning it to y variable, right? And you see here, when I'm doing this, it will assign x and y as 5 and 10, right? As 5 and 10. This is 5 and this is 10, right? You see, because this is default constructor. X is equal to 10 and y is equal to 5, right? And suppose I am creating another variable, another object of main. Let us say I am creating an object 2. Right? If I have object 2 and if I have given 20, 20, it means that it is going to make a call to this constructor and it will assign x as a 20 and y also as a 20. Fine. So this is called constructor overloading, and we are saying that constructor overloading is possible. Okay. But unlike your methods, constructor cannot have a return value. If you recall, we have created a various methods in the previous chapter. Let us say I have a method in a class which is having integer sum, and we say integer a comma integer b. And if I have defined, as it is having the return type, I could write this return a plus b. Fine, a plus b. In that case, an integer value will be returned. Right? I can do this or I can do this. I can write integer sum is equal to a plus b and I will return sum. Both things are same. Either I write this 2 lines or I write a single line where I do return a plus b. Both are same. In short, we are going to have an integer value as a return value of this method. So this return type or the return value is not possible with the constructor. That's the rule. Constructors cannot return a value. Fine. So as it is not having any return value, obviously it will not have any return type. So I'm talking about the last the third line, which says constructor do not have any return type, not even void. Even though it's not having anything to return because it is just used for the memory allocation. And that's why it does not do any computation or calculation. Any business logic we cannot apply over there. Fine. And we say an abstract class can have a constructor. So these two terms, that is abstract class and interface in Java, are the discussion of next chapter. From this current situation, you have to just remember that an interface do not have the constructor and an abstract class can have the constructor. Fine. And as I said, the last point which we discussed in a very first slide of today's discussion, that constructors are automatically called when an object is created, right? So if we recall quickly, it has the same name as class name. It will be called in automatically when object is created. It can be overloaded. It do not have any return type, not even void, and that's why it will not have the return statement, right? And constructor cannot be abstract, static, final, native, strict, FB, and synchronize, right? Interfaces will not have the constructor, but an abstract class can have the constructor. Now, anyone having any doubt, any question in this theory? The current slide was almost a theory. Anybody having any doubt, any questions? Should I move forward? Okay, then let us discuss next, which is about the types of constructors. As I said, there are two, like as you see this example, as you see the example which we discuss here you can clearly see. Om, please mute yourself. Om, please mute yourself. Om, please mute yourself. Okay. So as you can see here, this is constructor because I have a class which name is main1, and here this method name is main1, this method name is also main1, and this method name is also main1. So if you see the number of arguments, here no argument, here 1 argument, here 3 argument. If I would have taken a 3 variable, then probably I could have the fourth constructor which is having 3 parameter, right? So based on the number of the parameters, we can classify the constructor into 2 types. First one, which is default constructor, and the second one, which is parameterized constructor, right? So the default constructor is known as no argument constructor, because there would be no argument, nothing will be provided, right? And the parameterized constructor are the argumented constructors because we have the arguments in that constructor. Fine. So now from that, if we talk about the first constructor, which is default constructor, as I said, it is also known as no argument constructor also, no parameter constructor also. Fine. So you see the diagram. you see the diagram, what your compiler does is, your compiler looks, whenever you are creating an object, I'm talking about green color block, third line. I have a class, public class, my class, and inside a main method, I'm creating an object. My class object is equal to new my class. So whenever you are creating an object, and we know that we do the compilation by writing Java C, then file name.java. In that case, your compiler will add the default constructor by its own. So after compilation, your code will be something like this. You can see the pink color block where my class, the default constructor has been added automatically, right? So as we discussed, a constructor that has no parameter is known as default constructor, and we do not have to define it. Even if we are defining, then it's fine. It won't give any error. But if we have not defined it, then our compiler is going to create the default constructor with no argument for that class, right? And you would not find it even in your source file. That is, your .java file will not contain this. But whatever the compiled code we are having in our .class file, which is generated by your compiler, it will have this parameter in the bytecode language, right? So this is what a default constructor means. And here is the example, right? Whatever the example we have seen, like if I run this program, we know that public my class, we have taken integer number, public my class, system.out.println constructor code in number is equal to 5, and then we have public static void main method. We created an object, my class object is equal to new my class. So this is called to the constructor, default constructor. But as we have defined it, your compiler is not going to create it. It is going to use this one, right? It is going to use this one. And now if I write system.out.println number value is, and if I want to use this variable, which is belonging to my class, I need to write the object name, which is obj.number, which will give me access to this value. So can anyone tell me what will be the outcome? What will be the output of this program? This is example of default constructor. Default constructor are no argument or no parameterized constructor, which will be called automatically whenever we are creating an object. So what will be the output? Only 5?
Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
Constructor code number value is 5.
Exactly. There will be 2 lines because system.out.println will also be printed. So the output will be constructor code and number value is 5. Good, Om and others, I'll just request be attentive, think properly, and then answer. Right? So this will be the output. This is about your default constructor. Now, parameterized constructor is what? Parameterized constructor, the constructor which takes the argument, and these argument will be used to initialize the data field which is there in your class. So if I talk about my class and I have integer number 5, and if I'm giving argument to the constructor, you can see public my class, I have written integer x. In that case, your integer x value will be given to the number, right? I don't know what is happening. Whenever I'm just clicking on the slide, it is opening the, okay, anyways. So now you can see the main public static void. I'll not take cursor over there, guys, kindly bear with that. You can see here, I have a void main method. I'm talking about last paragraph. What is happening? I'm so sorry. It is automatically taking me. I guess that's some issue. Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. I guess there's some virus or something in my system which is automatically opening my browser again and again. Okay. So you can see here public static void main, and in that I have created the object. So obviously that is equal to the parameter, and as it is the parameterized constructor, I have given value 4. Can you see that? I'm talking about second last line of the code. My class object is equal to new my class 4. So in that case, your compiler will find for the matching constructor, and as you can see, the 4 is integer value, so it will go and match it with the public class integer x constructor. It will copy 4 into x, and further, as per the logic or business logic or code return, the x value will be copied into number, which is the data field of your class. Yes, Gavrav, you want to say anything? Gavrav, you want to say anything? Otherwise, mute yourself. So guys, you can see here, we have a parameterized constructor and we have a main method. So can anyone guess the output? What will be the output? Yeah, parameterized constructor code and number value is 4. That will be the output. Okay. Right? Now, as we discussed the rule or the characteristics where we said that constructor can also be overloaded, the way we have done the method overloading, constructor overloading is also possible. It means that in a single class, based on the different parameters, you can write multiple constructors, right? So as it is said, like constructors are the methods having the same name as the class name. So we can give those methods over here. Gaurav, Tanna, please mute yourself. Gaurav, you have unmuted yourself. Kindly mute yourself.
Sorry, ma'am. Sorry.
So your compiler, like if we have so many constructors with the same name, how your compiler will identify which constructor has to be called is based on the number of arguments, or you can say the number of parameters presented in the definition of your constructor. So it sees the number of parameters, types of parameters, and order of the parameters. For example, if in a class I have 2 double and 1 integer data field, it will match what is the current situation, like what is the order of the argument and what are the types and number of the arguments. So let us see that example, constructor overloading. So you can see here, I have constructor overloading class, right? And what I did is I have taken 2 data members, integer num1 and double number2. So this is integer value and this is the number with precision, like with points. I have a default constructor, right? And given a message, default constructor is called, and I'm giving the value num1 equal to 1 and num2 is equal to 1.5. Now, I have created 2 parameterized constructor. In the first parameterized constructor, I have taken integer x, right? So I'm giving the message parameterized constructor 1 is called, and then I have given num1 is equal to x. Num1 is equal to x, and over here x is the argument of your constructor, right? Then we have taken a second constructor. You can see it is having same name as the class name, and we have given 2 values over here, which is integer x double z. Fine. And then we have printed a message parameterized constructor 2 is called, and the first argument, which is integer argument, we are copying into number 1, which is the data field of the integer type, you can see here. and number 2 is the data field of double type. So in the constructor 2, the second argument we have taken is of double type, and then we are copying it, right? And finally, we have a method which is display data, void display data. In that, we are printing both the numbers. So you can see here system.out.println double quote num1 colon space. So this will be printed as it is because it is in a double quote. So it's a string literal. Okay. Then I have printed variable num1. Then again I'm doing plus a sign and concatenating the string literal slash and num2, which will go to the next line. It will print num2 colon and a space, right? And after that, I have concatenated num2, which is the variable or the data field of my class. Now, inside the main, we have created various, you can see, I guess I have some virus which is opening my tabs automatically. You can see here I have public static void main, and we have used constructor overloading object 1, new constructor overloading. When I'm doing so, what it will do is it will call the default constructor, because constructor without argument is known as the default constructor, right? So when the default constructor is called, I am printing the value of num1 and num2 with the help of display data function. Then I have created the object 2, and you see this, while creating the object 2, I have given one integer type of argument, right? So what it will do, it will just go and find that which constructor is having one integer argument, and it will find the matching constructor and it will execute it. So here that will happen when you are creating the object 2, the parameterized constructor 1 will be called and it will be executed. And then we are again displaying object 2's data. So we have used display data. Then we have created the third object, that is constructor overloading object 3, which is taking 2 argument. First argument is 5, which is integer, and second argument is 5.5, which is matching to our parameterized constructor 2. So your compiler will go there, it will execute it, and then we are going to call the display data method, right? So any guesses? What will be the output? Any guesses? You can see this. First, I'm calling this constructor, then I'm calling this constructor, and then I'm calling this constructor. So what will be the output? Here we have given the value, argumented value 5. Here it is 5 and 5.5. So can you guess the output? In between we have called display. This is our display method. So what will be the output? Path Y, it is 11 point, okay, 1.5. Yeah, okay, so there is something like a message printing is missing. Num1 and num2 are string literal, which is there. Can you see this? We are here, this num1 and num2. So this strings will be printed, right, with the display function. So when I will do this, I'm so sorry, I have to write constructor overloading dot Java. So you can see here I have compiled it, and now when I will run it, it will go to the main method. And inside main method, we have created the object 1, right? So here the constructor 1 will be called and then display data. So num1 comma num2. Then object 2. So the parameterized constructor 1 will be called and then display data. So this method will be invoked. Again, object 3 is created with 2 arguments. So it will call the parameterized constructor 2 and then again for the object 3, it will call this display method. Right. So we will have 6 lines in the output. Let us see that. We have compiled it and now we are running. Can you see this? Default constructor is called. This is line from the default constructor. Then num1, it is doing the assignment of the value. So num1 will have 1 and num2 will have 1.5 because we are here. We have assigned these values, right? This values, right? And after that, we have parameterized constructor 1 called and we have given 5 and 0.0. Path not 1.5, it will be 0.0. Why? Because when we are calling the constructor 2, you can see here, constructor 2 will be invoked when we are creating the obj2 here. At that time, we are not giving value for num2. If num2 is not having the value, by default, the initial value, which is the minimum value of its data type. So it is double, that's why it will be 0.0. That's why it will be 0.0 because no value is there. So by default, the initial value will be provided. If it is a string, then null will be provided. And if it is integer, then 0 will be provided. Are you getting the point? Whatever is the initial value of that data type, the minimum value that will be provided. Because here, while defining these constructor, parameterized 1 constructor, we have not given value in num2. And my num2 is double. So that's why it will give the 0.0. Is it clear? Is it clear? Parth, is it clear? That's the rule. Because whenever constructor is creating an object, but try to understand Parth, when I am saying I'm creating an object for a class, all the objects are different. Now consider this class as a student. This class as a student, public class student. Consider num1 as roll number and consider num2 as mobile number. So I am saying that student 1 will have different roll number, student 2 will have different roll number, and student 3 will have different roll number and mobile number. Suppose I am using this, it means that student 2 is not having mobile number, but student 2 is having the roll number. Are you getting the point? So the value which are not there, because when you are creating an object, you are talking about entire different instance, right? As we said, objects with the similar characteristics are the real world entities are known as the instance or object of a class, right? I hope everybody is catching the words. And now with the case 3, we have given both the values. Like we have given the values that is 5 and 5.5. Now suppose here also, to make your point more clear, Parth, let me remove this, the default constructors assignment. This is my default constructor assignment. I'm removing the assignment. Okay. Now I have just the line which says default constructor is called and no value has been assigned. Can you guess the output, Parth? Can you guess the output of that line? Are you getting the point? Just a second. Obj3, what I did? Something is deleted. Wait a second. So this is my default constructor. Let me comment it. So now it's not there. Okay. Can you guess the output? What will be the output? Are you getting the point, Parth? Yeah, exactly. It will be 0 and 0.0, right? Can you see this? Because it gives the initial values. If not provided by the programmer, then for integer it is 0, for double it is 0.0. If it would have been some string, let us say public class student, string student name, then it will be null, right? Because it's just assign the memory space with the initial values. Fine. But now if I have given the values here as a programmer, then it will take that value. Okay. I hope everybody is getting the point. Is it clear, everyone? Yes or no? Okay, fine. So can we quickly discuss about the learning outcome? What we learned today, and make sure that next time you are reading those things. What is the learning outcome? What you learned today? Quickly, tell me. This time I want answer from you. What you learned today? Exactly what is constructors? Then
Type of constructor.
types of constructor. Then
Rules of constructor.
exactly rules. And what else?
Constructor overloading.
Exactly. So remember this next time when I'm asking what we learn, you should answer this. But nobody's answering when I'm asking it in the next session. I suggest learn this from some online resources. So this was the learning outcome of today's session. So that's it for my side today. If you have any doubt or any question in any of this topic, you can raise your query now. Anyone having any doubt, any questions? Yes or no? Any doubt? Okay. Fine. So that's it for today. Let me stop the recording here. Oh my God, I have a virus. What to do? I have to. It's opening my tabs automatically whenever I click somewhere.